And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson.
100% agree.
And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, hello and welcome. We are sorry that we are a little bit late. My man Josh was having nothing but problems with his audio. The best part was, I guess, for him is I could hear him, but he couldn't hear me, which was probably one of the greatest moments of his life.
Yes.
Right there. But everyone is signing on to our IG and all the other accounts that we can be heard on. Thank you very much. We're going to have a great show. We're going to talk about all kinds of cool things. And we do have a UFC pay-per-view coming up with the welterweight champion, Belal. Do not forget the name, Muhammad, going up against JDM. So it should be fantastic. A lot to talk about there. How you doing now that you got your shit straight?
I'm doing good. Now that everything's all lined up, I'm glad now the audio's working. All of my fans on all the platforms can hear
all
me.
3 of them.
All 32 of them. Let's go. Speaking of the number 32, my boy Aaron Gordon last night had the game-winning shot. Denver Nuggets over OKC. Fantastic. He had the putback just 2 games ago as well to win it. Just absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy for him. Good friends with his dad. Had opportunity. Obviously, he's trained at my gym a couple times. Him and his brother. His brother had passed earlier this year during the season. He changed his number, and he is now number 32. What the number his brother wore. So I guess just for me, knowing him personally, just is very important. It's good to see the look on his face and happy, and the emotions going through him. I think afterwards were spectacular. And so good, really good kid. Comes from a really good family. Just absolutely amazing. So I'm so happy for him. Now on to game 2, and it's a long series, but definitely I love seeing that type of stuff. So great game though. They were down by 14 pretty much since from the first quarter. They were down by 14, 18, got all the way up to I think almost 20 down. They rattled it down to 5 over, or they were down by 5 going into the 4th. Then they went down by like 12, then 14 again. Then within, I kid you not, like the last 2 minutes, they were within like 5. Then they now narrowed it down to 1. They play the foul game. The literal, you know how basketball is. The last 20 seconds of a game will take you 45
30 minutes.
Yeah. Timeout after timeout after commercial after commercial, all of that stuff. Last night, I know every moment I watch a basketball game and that happens at the end, this is what goes through my mind. This shit doesn't work. You guys are just really just dragging it out.
It does work though.
Last night was proof. It's the first time that I've ever seen it actually work.
It does work. I mean, sometimes it doesn't. And nothing works all the time. But it's kind of like, you sit there and someone will, I always look at the NFL and the prevent defense. It's like, you're preventing a victory is what you're trying to do, because it never seems to work, but every now and then it does, and someone goes, see? And it's like, yeah, okay. But I hate it still.
Yeah, it's like you're literally giving up like 50 yards every play. It's like, what do you mean? Like, if you just kept playing the same way, the thing that got you there. But whatever it is, I don't get it. But the foul situation was working out. They were down by 1. Literally came down to like the last 5 seconds, down by 1. Had a great play. What's it called? OKC missed the shot. They got the rebound, ran it down real quick. Westbrook threw it to AG. AG shoots the 3. They didn't need a 3 to win, but he didn't have time to drive the lane when it was just 1-on-1. So he shot the 3, hoping to get the rebound. If he did miss, it went in. They got the ball real quick with less than a second left to try to shoot it. No go. So good on them. Moving on to game 2. Great performance though. Great comeback. Just overall, man, a lot of adversity they had to work through in that game. Great to see them succeed. So
a lot of good playoff games going off in all kinds of sports. So hockey's going freaking hot as hell right now.
Hockey's amazing, man. I love watching hockey.
It's the best.
I don't really get into basketball. Like I'm watching.
Neither do I. I get into the hockey.
Yeah, I get into hockey. I really only watch unless AG's playing, and then that's it. I watch Denver when they're playing. That's about it. I'll watch a little bit here and there. Even though I'm from the Bay, like I'm a kind of a Curry fan. I'm kind of like I like the guy.
Okay.
I mean, John, I like the guy, man. I love watching him play. He's
phenomenal, but
yeah,
he's also it's weird when a whole group changed the game. It really did. With all that outside 3-point shooting and stuff, and you look, it won. but it also made it to where sometimes the game's really it's not as fun.
Well, this is what happened last night. The Boston Celtics lost the game last night. They were ahead by 20. They shot 63 pointers and only made 15.
There you go.
Only made 15. They ended up losing to the New York Knicks. The Knickerbockers came back and got the win. Yeah. So, I mean, like you live by the sword, die by the sword kind of thing. No different than a guy who likes to stand and bang, but at least there's entertainment in the standing and banging situation, right? You live by the sword, die by the sword.
I have to give a congratulations to Stu, since Stu is with the Knickerbockers and he works there.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Hey, but not only that, Sarno is with Madison Square Garden.
So I got to tell Sarno, hey bud, just get well. He had his surgery. He got a little injury there. Get well. We love you and miss seeing you.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going, who the hell's Sarno?
I love Sarno, man. Great guy. Absolutely greatest storyteller I think I've ever met in my whole life.
Awesome.
Outside of Mike Van Arsdale. Those two guys, they can tell the shit out of a story.
Sarno is a great storyteller.
Yeah, I've never been good at telling stories. Never.
Yeah,
really? You know, I don't know why. I just can't tell a good story.
Probably because I start to laugh at my own stories. That
kind of ruins it. It's like a comedian that laughs at his own joke before as he's trying to get.
But if it's really funny, you should laugh.
No, yeah, but not if you're a comedian telling the joke. I mean, there's been moments like when you see Dave Chappelle, like he gets kind of choked up a little bit and starts to, he giggles a little bit. He's like, I'm about to say this. I'm about to drop this line. It's so funny, but he just starts giggling. You know, it's about to be good. Because it's something he probably shouldn't say. Oh, it's over the line, but you know what? Fuck it. Let's just see what happens. That's the thought that really goes through my head. Majority of the time before when I know I'm not supposed to say something, I'm like, fuck it. Let's just see what happens.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I say stuff all the time I shouldn't say. So it's gotten me far.
This episode is brought to you by BetUSTV.com, BetUSTV.com. We're going to go ahead and give you some odds and some stuff like that throughout the bites for UFC 315. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. This is going to be a great card. I feel like this one's getting swept under the rug, John. People are basically talking smack about this card. And I don't know why. Like they're it's kind of a shitty card. I'm like, really? I think there's going to be some good fights.
I haven't heard that I actually think that it's a good card and it's got some really great matchups, some interesting ones. You know, it's always anytime they go to Canada, they throw a ton of Canadians on the card, which they should. That makes sense. That's what you're selling. But there's a couple in here that you look at and you go, man, you know, it's like Ayman Zahabi is the brother of Frias. And, you know, he's been in the UFC for a while now. He's got a good record. He's 12-2, but he's that guy that, you know, he's really improved over time because he's not, you know, that super athletic, super fast, you know, dynamic in everything, you know, guy. He's just a hard worker and a guy who listens and technically does things the correct way and makes him a good fighter. And he's really come on in his UFC career. And now he's fighting Jose Aldo. And you go, damn, that's a hell of a fucking hill to climb right there. I don't know if he's ready, but he's got to be ready because of who he's fought, you know, and getting to this point, you look and you go, yeah, it makes sense as far as the fight. Because if you're going to, you know, continue to let him climb and push and get himself up there, you know, he's got to win over Pedro Munoz. That's a hell of a fighter, right? He's got a win over Javid Basharat. That's a hell of a fighter. So it's not like he's got, you know, guys that he's not, you know, that he's fighting that are no good. They're good. But now he's fighting Aldo. And I'm looking at him going, Jesus, man, can he take Aldo? And I look and I go, yeah, he can if he fights the right fight. But, you know, that's saying a lot when you're fighting Aldo.
Is there some reason you decided to start like right in the middle of the card?
I don't know. I was talking about, you know, they put Canadians on, and I know he's on the card, and they put a lot of Canadians on the card, which they should. And some of them, you know, I look at the matchups because sometimes you can see when they're doing this, they really match a lot of the Canadians up. You go, oh, that's a good matchup for him. That's a good matchup for him. And then I look at that one, I go, I don't know if that's a good matchup for him. No. It's been weighing in my head. How does he win that fight? So I'm just thinking about it. Sorry.
Well, let's kick around when we get to that fight, John.
Okay, when we get there,
how he wins that fight. Okay. You know what? We normally start from the top down, but I mean, like you seem to start right in the middle. You have one of those. Are you one of those guys when you start to read like a book, you start in the middle of the page?
Oh no.
You start from top to you go left to
Oh
right.
yeah, and
You do?
I do not read the ending or anything like that. Can't stand
Do you
that.
still get a newspaper?
Hell no.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
You seem like a newspaper guy.
I am definitely not a
Morning,
newspaper
cup
guy.
of coffee, newspaper folded open.
Nope.
No,
I got
never
the
been.
fly. No, what I use the 1440 and the flyover. Get it on my phone.
idea what
Look
the
at
hell that
that.
is.
Boom. Huh?
No idea what that is. What is that?
That is basically internet news that has no bias in any way. It has they're not trying to push any agendas. They're just giving you straight out, here's the facts. Boom. This is what is going on right now in the world.
What's the name of this thing?
The 1440 or the flyover?
The 1440.
I think the flyover has gone ahead of the 1440, I think.
Or the flyover.
Getting super popular.
All right. I'm going to take a look into these. I find it very difficult to believe that any media does not have any type of bias.
That's the whole point of them. Yeah,
No.
well.
Look, if you guys listen to the Wayne In, you guys know that there is no bias here until we get to AKA fighters.
I was going to say, there's always bias when there's an AKA fighter and Josh involved.
I'm 100% upfront with you about this. Okay. I do not deny these facts. But if you guys can accept that, you guys can subscribe to our channel. You guys can hit the thumbs up, hit the bell for notifications. We do Tuesday night lives every Tuesday night at 9:30 Eastern time, 8:30 my time, Central time.
There you go.
At 9:30 Eastern time. Join us every Tuesday night. Become a member. $4.99. I'm just going to be mailing off. I mailed off some giveaways today to some loyal members that have been members since day one. And so they'll be getting a box of Element and a couple of the little goodies that I put in there that I had laying around, that I've had for old UFC stuff,
old dog treats,
stuff, old PFL stuff. No dog treats. What are you talking about? If I still have a dog, John, my dog, he's
the dog will get pissed.
Yeah, he'd be mad that I'd be sharing that stuff with.
Maybe what John meant was like old dog treats because you used to be a dog in the cage and you're giving them old dog like.
I like where you're going with that, buddy. I like where you're going with that. Thanks for that. That's the first nice thing I think Dave said to me since we started this show.
It might be.
Little pat on the back. Like you guys, if you look, I know that you guys used to give me such a hard time for giving Podcast Dave a hard time. Always picking on him, always ragging on him. If I could show you guys the tweets that but the texts he constantly sends me of me getting knocked out by Yves Edwards, it's just like I never get any other text from him except for that text. It's a GIF. That's
awesome.
It's on repeat. Every time he doesn't like something I say, he sends me that video. Sends me that video.
Awesome.
That GIF. I'm like, oh, brutal, man, brutal.
So, Josh, you were saying that this one, people are sleeping on it, swept under the rug. This was a post went out by UFC a couple of days ago, and it was an ad for the pay-per-view, and it said, "Montreal, we are so back." They're promoting the return to Canada, and then someone replies, looks like a Canadian person replies down there and says, "So back, 6 days out, and about 50% sold. No one gives a F."
Oh man, you guys are sleeping on this, man. I got to be honest, man. Like, look, let's start off with the main event, John. Let's be honest. People were leaning a lot towards Belal Muhammad. I listened to a lot of exactly. I did the same thing. Look, I'm a huge Belal fan. I was a Belal fan before a lot of these people decided to jump on the bandwagon. Bottom line is, Belal Muhammad's going to have his hands full. It's going to be a lot tougher fight than I think he's thinking and that people are thinking. Jack Della Maddalena is a dog on the feet. He's no slouch on the ground. He'll jump the ghillie to his own detriment. He will sometimes.
Yeah, to his own detriment.
In this situation, though, do you believe, let me ask you this, do you believe that Belal is going to really not shoot?
I'm telling you right now, this is, I was looking and saying, look, this is going to be a fight that's going to be with Belal Muhammad and his ability to take the fight to the ground. This is going to be a tough fight for Jack because he's going to have to really be using good footwork and being smart when he throws. And then I hear damn Belal say, I'm not going to shoot at all. It's all going to be the hands. And I'm like, I hope that you're just talking, because if that's true, now you're playing the game of let me be the stupid fighter.
What did your dad say? Come on, use that.
As simple as it gets. Never play another man's game. And what is Jack's game? It's the stand-up. That's where he is strongest. So I'm going to play into his game and take away what has always been the strength of my game. Makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. And I'm not saying I love Belal. I think he's a smart fighter. He's always been a smart fighter, and I think he will continue to be a smart fighter. I think he's just talking, but man, I hope he is, because that's the dumbest game plan ever.
Yeah, why take a chance? Like, look, it's all
Why
about
take away what you're great at?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, we just saw what happened, with Bo Nickel. Decided not to wrestle, decided thought he could stand, decided not to go ahead and just shoot the shot, man. That's what you're known for. We'll get into Bo a little bit later. We'll kind of recap a little bit of that too, because there's been a lot of stuff that's come out as of recently. But with Belal Muhammad, he's got all the tools. He can box. He's got power. He don't get the credit for the feet for his stand-up. He doesn't get the credit there. What I get concerned about is and we saw this with Ronda Rousey. We saw this with other fighters as well. They have a little bit of success on the feet. Belal's had great success. Great success, yes. Is that he's had great success on the feet. He just doesn't get the credit for it. I just hope that he's not out there trying to prove it. I want him to keep his title. I want him to keep winning and beating these guys so he can prove all these haters wrong, because he got so much shit for so long. You're boring. You're this. All you are is a wrestler. All you do is this. You whine and cry all the time. Bro, winning solves everything. Shut up. And if I keep winning, keep talking trash. I'm going to keep winning, keep collecting my checks. That's all that matters. I just had a good conversation today with Bobby Lashley about this. It really just comes down to, like, no one can say shit about you or do anything to you if you're winning. And that's what Belal needs to do. If he keeps this fight on the feet a little bit so he can sell the takedowns, I think he's going to have success on closing the distance, putting pressure, making Jack fight going backwards, and be able to close that distance in the wrestling. The clinch work, I think, will be to his advantage as well. Inside that fence, just grind that Randy Couture style. Yep. I want to see that type of fight from him in this situation.
That's honestly, go back to his fight with Sean Brady and take a look at what started to break Sean Brady down was his ability to clinch, do damage with dirty boxing, and then get back to length and land hard shots. Look, I'm not saying that Belal has not gotten good with his stand-up. He has. His stand-up has really improved. But don't play into the strength of your opponent when you have the ability to put him in a weaker position. JDM has never been that great ground fighter. That's not who he is. But you're looking at a guy who's coming into this fight, Josh. He's 17-0, all right? Because he's 17-2 overall, but he lost his first two fights. He hasn't had a loss since his second fight. Okay, and he's 7-0 in the UFC. This guy's coming in with confidence. Now, he's had a couple of tight fights, but he's worked his way through it. So what's he telling himself? Hey, doesn't matter if it's a tight fight. I'll work my way through it. I'm going to get there. Confidence is great now, and I believe that Belal's got a ton of confidence. He's the new champ. There's all kinds of things, behind the scenes of people saying stuff that are, in some way disrespecting him. No one should disrespect Belal. He is that good that he has worked his way to the point of becoming the welterweight champion, and he deserves it. But being smart is part of what got him there. Don't change that.
I would agree with you 100%. We talked a lot about Belal, but JDM, though, how does he get it done?
JDM gets it done by creating angles and putting it on Belal and having Belal try to be a stand-up fighter throughout the whole thing. I do believe he needs to create the angles to keep himself from Belal actually being able to get the takedown. And, use your feet to get you to places. Touch, get out, reset, do it again. Touch, get out, reset, do it again. He's able to do that in this fight, and Belal doesn't get takedowns. It's going to be a tough fight or a tough night for Belal.
Yeah, I would agree too. JDM, I think would you say he's got more power?
Yeah. Look, you got to be honest about it when you're looking at it. JDM, that's his bread and butter, okay, has been the stand-up. And if you're taking a look, he's got, how many? He's got 7, I think, first-round KOs, TKOs, okay, and then even off of that second round, he's still in there with 4 or 5, okay? That's 12 right there. First or second round KO, TKO. That's telling you something. He's got some pop. He's got some snap. So, you never know exactly how hard someone hits until you go in there. And, a lot of times people think that someone doesn't hit hard, because they never get that solid shot. Everything glances off. And, that's what you're looking for. That's what you're trying to do defensively, is that make everything glance. But when someone hits you and it puts that buzz that goes down your spine, that's when oh, I better be careful, because I can't take a whole lot of those and keep myself standing here.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do think he's got power.
Yeah, what JDM does very well is goes to the body, and that could change a fight right off the bat. And we saw that with Bo Nickel. We've seen it with some really top-level world-class boxers as well. Doesn't matter how damn good you are. Your body shuts down when you take a nasty liver shot. So if JDM's able to get to the body early and able to land some clean shots up top too, I think that can start to make Belal respect him, and then have to focus more on punch, shot, instead of literally walking guys down, showing them no respect like he's been doing lately. And so if JDM can get his respect right off the bat with a clean shot or one or two clean shots and get him to respect him with his power, that could change the dynamic of the rest of the fight. No different than how Sean Strickland did it with Izzy. When he rocked him in the first round, had him hurt really bad, the rest of the fight was not the same. JDM needs something like that to change the tempo in the direction of this fight, and he's got to do it early. It's got to be the first round or second round to start making Belal go, damn, either I got to get to some wrestling, or I got to start either punching my way in or just clinching him, get into that clinch and making it a dog fight like a Randy Couture fight.
Yeah.
Can I ask, is there more? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm
is there more pressure? Because I don't know if it really, Belal did say this, but he said it to Islam, just sign your fight because I'm leaving Canada with my title. I don't know if it's true that he actually said that in an interview. I don't know. But Islam's probably obviously hasn't signed the fight with Ilya. He's waiting to see what happens. But does it put more pressure on Belal? Like, this dude's literally waiting for me to lose. Like, I know we're friends. I know we're family. Like, it's like we all train together. Like, but does it make you feel like someone's waiting for me to lose so they can sign the fight? I'm asking. Like,
it's those whole all these situations you can't sit there and worry about those things.
No, you can't,
in my opinion. And you just got to go, hey, I understand that he's going to want to come up to 170 and he's going to want to fight for that title. So when it happens, it happens. And if I'm the one holding the title and I still want to be holding this title, then we're going to have to fight. This is where people need to understand this is a business, and you need to run your whole life as it is a business while you are in the fight game. All kinds of, there's all kinds of businesses out there, and there's ones that barely get by and there's ones that really do well. Mm-hmm. And it's the way that they're run. And then it's no different for a fighter. It's what do you eat? How do you train? How long do you sleep? All these things in the end determine how well you perform. And then off of that, how well you perform then dictates how much money do you make. And all these things is you're running a business. And so as a person that's running a business, I can't worry about what my competitors are doing. I worry about taking care of my business. And if in the end I have to go up against those competitors, then that's what we have to do. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, the champ's going to always have to fight the next best guy.
That's it.
So it's like he doesn't have to worry about it. I mean, but just in my mind, I'm like, I just feel like there's got to be a little bit more pressure. Like Islam's kind of waiting to see what the results are of this fight before he signs his contract with Ilya. Like, I plan on leaving. I believe Belal's, to me personally, I believe Belal's going to leave with the title. Okay. But I think that JDM's not getting the respect he deserves. I think this fight's going to be a more difficult fight than people think, and it's going to be closer than it thinks. I don't think it's going to be a 50-45. Like some people are saying that he probably gets JDM out of there in the second, third round. I think that JDM's super tough.
He is tough.
And if you, like I said, it's only going to take one or two shots to make Belal respect him in that first round to change the dynamic of this fight.
Josh, you could go back and look at, there was the, I can't say it, so I want to say Basil Hafez.
Mm-hmm.
That fight that JDM had, that it was Hafez was put in there as a last minute replacement. And a lot of times people will look and they'll go, oh, the guy's coming in. He's not. It makes it difficult for the person that is, has the status, because first off, they haven't been able to Basil Hafez. Thank you very much, Dave. And so you look at that and you go, it's very difficult for the person that has the status because first off, he's not prepared for that style fighter. That guy comes in and Hafez came in and look, he gave JDM nothing but problems. He was all over him for the takedowns, trying to put him on the ground. He was super strong. He hit hard. He hurt him even in the stand-up, but it was slowly and systematically, Jack got it going and the body shot started to slow him down a little bit, but it was a tough fight. And, it went back and forth. It was a split decision in the end, but those are the kind of fights that you look at and you go, the guy's a winner, man. Cause he had difficulties in that. And you saw him struggling with those difficulties in that fight, but he overcame them. And when you can do that, because again, and we say it all the time, not every night is your night. But when you have those nights and you still come out with the win, it's saying something about how good you really are. And he's that good.
Absolutely. Like it's difficult enough to get a win, period. Then have a bad night. And, it's difficult enough. And then to get a win when you're having a bad night, you're just not feeling it. The weight cut didn't go the way you went. Your body's just not reacting the way you thought it would. Yeah. The game plan isn't working the way that you guys anticipated it working.
And he's a ginger. Gingers are crazy, strong, and tough.
Yeah, they're retarded strength.
They are.
Really are. Got the retarded.
Just something about him.
Yeah. I mean, look, he just has one of those, like I don't know what he's been through in his life, but because he's a ginger, he's an Aussie also. Like, I mean, I feel like he's just been through a lot. Fucking big spiders and snakes and shit living in his house. I'm good, bro. No, guy's been through a lot. He knows what's going on.
That's funny.
Overall, like I want to say, my final wrap on this is that I think JDM's going to have a good performance. I don't think it's going to be enough to beat Belal. To me, Belal has got all the tools. If he utilizes them, I think he should win this fight. But I'm gonna go like four rounds to 1 or 3 rounds to 2. It's gonna be a good fight. But I think Belal will probably either win the first 3 and then something will happen. But I think it's gonna be like kind of JDM's gonna be fighting from behind going into the 5th. He's gonna have to try to do something, really try to get the fight to win it. But if it does get to the 5th, I mean, I can see Belal possibly getting him out of there sometime, maybe at the end of the 3rd and the 4th. But I think it may end up going the distance. It's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a better fight than most people are giving credit for. Yeah. Dave, you got the odds on this fight from betustv.com?
Yeah, here you go.
Can you pull up that graphic for me, bud? Thanks, buddy.
This one does not have the odds in it, but here I've got the odds over here.
Okay. Oh, I thought I sent you over all the odds. I sent you over like 4 or 5 of them.
It's got Jack Della Maddalena as a plus 158.
Got it.
With Belal as a minus 190. That's about right. It's about right.
Yeah, I can see it being that. Yep. I mean, but I've got some friends, man, that have JDM as the lock of the week, man. That's their lock who they think is going to win this fight. They think that he's going to be able to touch Belal. He's going to fight him at range and distance, and he's going to rip the body and be able to land the hard shot that really gets Belal in trouble and put him away. I mean, you can talk about like basically Belal's getting a little bit older. And so in getting older is where you're at. Yeah, these odds came in today around 6 o'clock, Central Time. So they've changed a little bit since then, but there's the graphic on it. Like I think the odds are subject to change also to what we're talking about now. It may change tomorrow.
Sure.
But I look at it and I go to myself, I'm like, I could see if you wanted to take, like, here you are. What is the over on it? We're over at 4.5.
4.5.
200. People are thinking it's going to go the distance. I could see people taking the under at 4.5 and going plus 166 for either Belal or JDM to get a finish. I mean, think about this. He was able to finish Sean Brady. I mean, Sean talked about he didn't have a great performance, this and that. I would agree. But finishing Sean Brady, whether he had a great performance or not, is never an easy task. Never been done before. So I think when I look at this, JDM can be finished. I think Belal can be finished. These are one of those situations. One's got knockout power. One's got good ground and pound. One is also finished, as of recently, finished people on the feet. I could see this fight being finished before 4.5.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanted to take the minus, the under,
the under is the plus 166.
Plus 166 at 4.5.
Yeah, so
I could take that.
You're getting better odds.
Definitely take that. Let's go ahead and move on to the co-main event.
Valentina Shevchenko, the champion, once again taking on Manon Fiorot. This is one of those or Fiorot.
Mhm.
I've heard it both ways. I'm not exactly
No reason
positive,
to
but
no one cares, John.
I'm just making sure. Say it
No
both ways. That way you're covering it. But yeah, this is a great matchup. This is the fight that should happen. I'm glad it's a different opponent than Alexa Grasso. Even though Alexa's on the card, we'll talk about her later. But Valentina is in that position. A lot of people are looking at this and saying, "Oh, Manon, she's the hot ticket." I'm like, man, they're both close to the same age. I think Valentina's 37, Manon's like 35. They're both in a position where you look and you go, both came from a kickboxing background. One is a way better grappler in the end, especially if it hits the ground. Takedown defense, Manon has gotten very good with it, but physically they match up. And just the experience of Valentina, it's hard to go against her when you're taking a look. She's got 4 losses on her career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, look at who those people are that she's lost to. She lost to Liz Carmouche early in her career off of a cut that was stopped. And I'm telling you, I saw the cut. It was like, that should never have been stopped. But it was. So she lost to Liz Carmouche, who is a person everyone knows as a champion in Bellator, fought, Ronda Rousey in the very first women's bantamweight fight ever. And so, I mean, her other 2 losses are to who?
Alexa Grasso, right? And Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes.
She's a loss to Alexa
Grasso.
Grasso.
What's that? Yeah.
She has a loss, yeah.
Yeah, she got a loss and a draw.
Draw.
So, but I mean, you're talking about, okay, so she doesn't just lose to anybody as far as she just she hasn't had those bad nights unless it's top flight competition. I just look and I think Valentina at this point, she's in that position. She's got something to prove to herself. I think she wants to prove it to everyone and to herself. I want to show you exactly, who you guys were all of a sudden thinking was done, and I'm not.
She's done, John.
Okay,
she's done. She's gonna get her ass kicked. She's gonna get mopped.
I like that.
She's gonna get mopped. Like she's gonna be shooting for the legs. She's gonna be trying to get takedowns. She's not gonna be able to stand. It's gonna look bad. I got Manon. I think Manon's gonna walk through her. She's a big body frame. I don't know what it is, but something about Valentina. She just hasn't been the same since her first loss to Alexa Grasso. She like a little bit almost checked out. Even when she beat her the last fight, I didn't see a great performance by her. It was good, but
she dominated the fight.
I know she did, but John, it wasn't even the 2 fights before that. They just weren't good. You know what I mean? Like she dominated that fight with Alexa Grasso, but it wasn't like, wow, I'm looking forward to seeing her fight again. It just wasn't. And let's not, I guess when I'm looking at Alexa Grasso, remember when she fought her? She was ranked number 7 or 6, somewhere in there. It wasn't like she was the number 1 contender. They just
I don't remember what she was.
At the time that she fought her, she was ranked number 6. Then she got submitted, and then they fought again, and it was a draw. Like it just to me, like
well, she had some close fights even before. Talia Santos was a close fight.
Yeah,
and so a lot of people were saying that she's had those tough fights, and so maybe it is time. But I'm just saying, I know that. Look at Manon's come into the UFC. And just done great. She beat like Rose
Namajunas,
Tabitha Ricci, Jennifer Maya, all those people. But most of them are decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Just about all of her fights.
That doesn't bother me.
Okay,
it doesn't bother me.
You think she's just gonna dog walk her?
Yeah, I think on the feet she's gonna be too much. Her southpaw stance, the way that she actually throws her combinations at long range. She also finishes with the kick. She'll start with a kick and finish with strikes. She's really good at dropping the elbows to try to stuff takedowns as well as trying to get underhooks and making space. She tries to not let herself get pushed to the fence. She does a great job of turning when they shoot in on the takedowns. She'll shoot, drop the elbows, and then turn, and then try to throw a head kick or something off of that. I mean, I'm sure that Valentina is going to be prepared for all that. She's been a world-class kickboxer. She can do it on the ground. Look for her, though, to try to get this fight to the ground. I don't think she's going to try to stand too much. She's going to try to get this fight to the ground. After a couple takedowns,
that would make her smart.
That would make her smart. That would. I would agree with you. But I look at Manon. I think she's going to win. And I think I don't want. Again, I said she's going to dog walk her. I'm gonna let me backtrack a little bit on that. But I think she is gonna win. I think she is gonna win.
All right.
So,
All right.
Dave, you got the.
I think we need to bet on that one.
I don't know. You can bet. Go right ahead. Bet USTV has got great odds.
Great odds.
Yeah, great odds. I've got her listed right now. What do they have her at? They got
minus 310 as the favorite for Manon, and a plus
minus one money line is minus.
I'm sorry. See,
yeah, minus 140 is the money line, plus 118. Valentina Shevchenko. If you're a big Valentina, John, that's a way for you to make some money, baby. You're so high on her, on Valentina. She is the dog. Take that dog bet, John. Minus 118. Take that dog bet.
That's just a touch better than even money.
Go for it, John. Go for it. All in, buddy. All in. Minus 140 from Manel. And then also the over at 4.5 is a minus 310. A little too rich for my blood. I'm not gonna throw 310 in. I do think it's going to go the distance. I think it'll be one of those fights.
Unless it hits the ground.
Yeah, you think so?
Yep. The fight hits the ground with Valentina on top, it's got a good chance of ending it. Other than that,
how so?
Look, she's got a really good heavy top pressure game, and she throws big elbows.
Yeah.
Elbows work.
The one that got submitted by Alexa Grasso, that one, that girl. She's got okay.
Styles make fights, man.
Yeah.
You know that there's always going to be that person that gives you trouble.
I never had that. Never had those fights. Yeah. Never had those fights. Just podcast Dave. He's the one that's always just giving me trouble. It's like having an elderly son. It's always giving me trouble, driving me crazy. Calling me to bail him out. Look, I don't want to sound disrespectful. I just think that Valentina, I think her time at the championship level has run her course. Yeah. I think the odds are seeing the same thing and reflecting.
Aren't you the guy that says that, you know what, women always tend to get better as they get older?
I absolutely am that person. But I also feel no different than this. When I look at Jose Aldo, everyone's like, yeah, well, Jose Aldo he lost to Max Holloway when he was only 28 or 29, I'm like, or something like that. Anyways, and I said, certain people also too hit their prime at different times when they've been in it for so long. I mean, why do you guys think Muay Thai guys, they retire at like 19 and 21, 22?
That's because they start when they're 8.
Yeah, they've got like 15,000 fights by the time they're 19 and 20 years old. Yeah. So people's prime hits at a different level.
Sure.
Now, generally, right, for MMA and for most athletes, right, sure, you start playing football, you start playing basketball, whatever it is, wrestling at a young age, but you peak for your high school wrestling or college, right? You're peaking in college. That's your man time, which is 22, 24. Try wrestling at 28. It's not the same. Like, that's why a lot of these high school kids right now, Bo Bassett, Jackson Forrest or whatever. Like, these guys right now, man, they're beating Olympic gold medalists. They're beating Olympians. They're beating 2-time, 3-time NC2A champions. Their peak is at a different time now. And so when I look at this, I think she's ran her course. Her peak is done. She's, it's done. It's been too long. She's been a champion for a long time. I admire that about her. I've always said that. I always thought she was the one that got the least amount of respect for doing so much of that in the women's division, because she couldn't get past Amanda Nunes. But her time has come, and I think her time is going to go on Saturday night.
Okay.
So
overall,
though, next fight.
Next fight is something I've already talked about, so you get to talk all you want. Is Jose Aldo against Ayman Zahabi. And so, what do you think?
Zahabi's gonna have a hard time with the leg kicks if Jose throws them, which I think he will. He'll throw several. I don't know if he'll throw a lot.
He's not going to throw
enough damage. But John, the explosiveness for Jose is still there. What it is, it's the ability to go hard and fast for a long duration of time.
It's gone.
So he has a hard time keeping a pace. If you press him to the fence, you put any pressure on him and make him fight an uncomfortable fight, if you can take his shots, then you'll have success. Like, you can grind him against the fence and control him there and make him work in the wrestling department where he's got to use a lot of energy. He's not the same fighter. And so that's the way to beat him. I just don't know if Zahabi has that in him, because he's an outside range fighter. He's someone that with the side kicks, the boxing, the switching of stances, all those things. That's how he fights. Yeah. I don't know if Jose gets started early with the leg kicks, and lets that lead into some boxing, I think Jose will have a lot of success. This is a huge step up in competition.
It is a huge step
for
up.
Zahabi.
Yeah, it is. And that's the real question. Is he ready for I'm not saying he's not, look, he can fight and he can fight well, but sometimes you get that I'm standing across from Jose Aldo, or I'm standing across from Randy Couture, or I'm standing across from Fedor Emelianenko. And it's just the fact that you've been watching that person for all these years, all these fights, and you've actually, dreamt about actually being able to compete against him. And now it's happening. Sometimes that puts you in a position where you have that, that awe factor that it kind of holds you back a little bit in the beginning. And so sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad.
Well, I mean, John, there's really no reason to, Zahabi's been training for a long time. Sure.
Yep.
He hasn't been in the UFC that long. Jose's been in it forever since the WC days, bringing the weight class up into the UFC, all of those things. But they're not I think Jose's younger.
Is he?
Yeah, the hobby's 37.
37, yeah.
How old Aldo? 36, 37, somewhere in there?
Yeah, but Zahabi's been in the UFC since like 2016, 2017. He's been there for 10 years almost. Not as long as Aldo. Yeah.
37, and then Jose is
Jose is 38. So they're basically the same.
Yeah, okay.
They're the same. So, it's when you're looking across from him, sure, I grew up watching you fight, but like that game, that made me think that he's a young fighter.
No, but he was, while Aldo was fighting in the WEC, because there was no 145-pound weight class in the UFC. Look at Zahabi was watching that at that time, right? And like, dude, this is the guy. And then he switched over to the UFC and continues on. And he's looking, going, damn, this is the guy. And you're always thinking about, man, well, what would I do again? It's not that he was a kid watching it, but he was a young fighter watching another guy going, man, that dude's so good. And you build this up in your head.
Let's be honest, man. Do we call him Zahabi or do we call him Helwani? Which one do you call him?
They do look similar, don't they?
They look exactly alike.
I will definitely call him Zahabi.
Come on, Dave. What do you think, Dave? I think.
Let's see.
They look. Can you put a side by side comparison? They look exactly alike.
They look a lot alike.
Look at that.
It's because of the beard.
They look exactly alike.
The shaved head, and the beard.
Yeah,
kind of does.
All right.
So he's got a twin.
I wonder if Zahabi wears glasses when he's not training.
So just look at it this way: one of them can fight, and one of them can't.
They tell me I'm not lying. Tell me, and they're both from Canada.
Yeah, they're both from Canada.
Yeah, they look exactly alike.
Mr. Helwani was a naughty dog, huh?
Nah. Mr. Helwani was a naughty dog. Oh, geez. That's great. All right, Alexa Grasso versus Natalia Silva.
Man, this is a tough fight right here. This is one that I'm really interested in to see exactly how Alexa Grasso comes back, how she does against another fighter, because Silva she's been lighting some really good fighters up. She started off in the UFC taking on Jasmine Jasudavicius, who's on this same card. She got a win against her. She got a win against who's Javicius fighting here? Show me that. Jessica Andrade. She's got a win against her. She's just done really well. Undefeated right now in her UFC career. That doesn't mean that she can't be beat, but one coming off of losing the title, how does that affect her? And one saying, I'm only a couple fights, one, maybe two, away from getting my title shot. So lot on the line here.
I think the difference in this fight is going to be the speed, man. Natalia Silva is so fast, and the way she puts her combinations together, the kicks, the punches, she does so much in such a small period of time with her speed, and she gets in and gets out. Alexa Grasso is not an extremely fast fighter. Her wrestling is good, but it's
got
not,
much better.
Yeah, it is much better. But when someone is, it's like trying to catch Stephen Thompson and Michael Benham Page. That's how Natalia Silva is right now in the women's division. She's so quick at landing her, but she's got some power.
Mhm.
I mean, like she's got enough to drop you, to knock you down, to make you respect her,
Yeah.
And so Alexa Grasso's got to be very careful. She's also got Alexa Grasso's got to be careful the fact that, like, yeah, I fought for the title. It's easy to get into your mind frame of I was the former champion. I fought for the title. Like, you don't deserve to be in here with me. You've got to kind of put all those type of thoughts behind you. Like, who are you? Like, she's been coming up as you were the champion. You didn't probably recognize or hear about her, as much. You weren't thinking about her because you were thinking of Shevchenko, or whoever else was going to be next. But the bottom line is Natalia Silva is fast. She's extremely good. She keeps her back off the fence. She does great lateral movement. She's going to be very hard to get into the clinch with. And in terms of speed, that's leaps and bounds. She's way faster than Alexa Grasso.
But I agree with you as far as she's faster than Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
I also agree she's way better with her kicks than Alexa, but she's not better with her hands. So it's one of those, you take a look and there's elements for each in the stand-up. And I'm going to actually now go to the ground. I think Alexa has actually turned the corner and that's now a strength for her instead of a handicap. So it's a great matchup. I love the fight, and a lot of it to me is up here for Alexa Grasso. Where's she at?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Natalia Silva, and I'm a huge Alexa Grasso fan. Just total dime piece, and she can fucking fight her ass off. I just think in this fight, Natalia Silva is gonna be too fast. And you said the boxing, but look, if you can't hit me because I'm too fast, I'm in and I'm out. I mean, ask Floyd Mayweather made a whole career about it. He couldn't knock nobody out, but fuck, he got in and got out of there before he got hit. I mean, he technically he never hit the canvas, even though he did against Zab Judah. His glove hit the ground, but he technically has never hit the canvas in his career. And in this situation, I think she's going to be too fast. She's going to be too fast getting in, too fast getting out. And her boxing sure is not as clean as Alexa Grasso's, but the kicks will make up for that. So if I hit a side kick with you, if I throw a head kick while your hands are up, and I come in with a quick combination and throw another kick coming out, and then use my lateral movement, whew, man, she's going to be a lot faster. I think you're going to be able to see it right off the bat. That's going to make it very difficult for Alexa Grasso. And Alexa is also someone that she just kind of like marches after you. She doesn't put like a lot of pressure. She's almost like a Nick and Nate Diaz, where they don't remember how Frank Shamrock, when you watch him, he would shuffle in to try to create the pressure. Alexa doesn't do that. She doesn't like shuffle in or cut the cage off to really try to put pressure. She's going to need to do that if she wants to make Natalia Silva like uneasy. A little bit how Belal, I think, is going to kind of have to do it with JDM. He's going to have to like make sure that he's shuffling in to cut off the cage as well as create the pressure. And so I look at it and I'm like, like I said, I love Alexa Grasso. I just think right now it's Natalia Silva's time. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong. But that's one of those fights that I think you're going to see the new up and comer look to shine. I think she's going to end up shining. John, we didn't do the Jose Aldo as odds on this. Zahabi is a plus 178. Aldo is a minus 215. The over on it is 2.5 at minus 370, and the under at 2.5 is plus 291. I see this fight going the distance. I think it's too rich for my blood at minus 370 to go over at 2.5. Zahabi at a plus 178, but I'm going to take Aldo at minus 215, but probably to win by decision. I think he'll get 2 rounds. I think he'll win 2 rounds, either with leg kicks, with bigger shots. He'll make Zahabi show him respect. He'll make Zahabi show him respect. He's going to land the big shots. I think that's how that fight's going to go. Do you see it that way?
Yeah, I think the speed difference is going to be a problem for Zahabi in the beginning of the fight. And I think he'll come on later on and he'll do good work probably in the 3rd round, but it probably is going to have to get rid of him in that 3rd round to take the fight, and that's going to be very difficult to do.
It will be. And then you have Natalia Silva as a minus 240 over Alexa Grasso at a plus 198.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone's looking the same thing. Up here, Josh. Where is she at?
No. Okay. So the over at 2.5 is a minus 415. It's for sure going to go the distance. I don't think either one of these ladies is going to get finished. It's going to go the distance. Yeah, but Natalia Silva to minus 240 over the former champion.
That's
who
what I'm
just
saying.
fought Shevchenko 3
But
times.
that's what I'm talking about. People are looking and they're like, where's your head at? Because you know what? You lost the title. Are you still in this game to, get it back? This fight's going to actually show because she's up against a tough opponent.
Yeah, speed kills. Speed
Yeah.
kills. I'm leaning, like I said, I'm taking Natalia Silva on it. No disrespect to Alexa Grasso. The next fight, man, John, to me, has potential. Oh no, is it this one?
No,
Oh, sorry. No, it wasn't this one. It was the next one down.
Yeah, this one switched.
Benoit Saint Denis versus Kyle. How do you say his name?
Propelic.
Propelic. He fought Bellator a while back. I said when he was real young, he fought in Bellator. I remember that.
Yeah. Fought in Bellator. He's fought in the UFC before too. He didn't get any wins in the UFC, but I watched. I've seen him fight there. He fought against Austin Hubbard. I remember that fight. And you look and you go, look, he's a steady fighter, strong, but this is not a good fight for him. This is a fight. He's coming in last minute to be a replacement, and he's being put up against someone who needs a win and is definitely made to give him problems in this fight. This is not a fight I see Saint Denis losing.
Okay, now let me have a little conversation with you about Saint Denis.
Go ahead.
Saint Denis turns down turns down a fight with oh crap. Who did he turn it down with? He was offered somebody and he turned it down. Crap. I thought
he was facing
Gamrot.
Joel Alvarez. No, that was Sarukian.
That was Sarukian. Did they offer Gamrot the same fight?
Matthias Gamrot rips Coward Benoit Saint Denis for turning down short notice fight.
There you go.
Okay.
So same thing. This is what I was talking about the other night, John. What do you mean it's not?
No, it's not the same at all. He was. You got to look and say that Benoit Saint Denis was in camp to fight Joel Alvarez. What kind of fighter is Joel Alvarez?
A stand-up guy, tall, long,
lanky. He's got some ground also, but he likes to be in the stand-up. Where is Gamrot? Good
in the wrestling.
Okay, not a bad move in saying no. I'm not. I did no wrestling in my camp. Not a bad move.
I mean, no. I'm just look. You say it's not.
I understand what you're saying. Here's your chance to move up in the rankings and all that stuff. And you're being smart when you say, I just went through a camp, did very little wrestling because of the opponent that I was going to face. And now you want me to go against a guy that is all wrestling.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I'm gonna submit to. I'm gonna go ahead and just take the easy way out of this. Okay. I just think that we continue to get into these conversations about fighters just not wanting to fight, making business decisions. And I'm going to reiterate this. You have to be careful. Doesn't matter what your ranking is. You need to be careful because you have nowhere else to go. Nobody's paying you what you're going to be making right there. And if they do pay you that, they may not be in business very much longer. So be careful because it's going to be very difficult to go back if your company you leave for goes out of business. Ask the people that signed with the GFL. Okay? Ask them.
No one made money with the GFL.
They did make money. They got paid their monthly stipends.
Yeah, okay.
They got paid, and then after that, no one got paid. But so I'm saying, they left thinking that they were going to continue to get money.
They got paid. They got paid for someone to use their name.
Yeah,
that's really what it was.
But some of them asked for releases from the UFC to go there, thinking they were going to cash out.
Yeah,
and it didn't work out. My thing is there's no other big promotion coming to save you guys.
No.
There's no one offering you, and there's no money coming in. There's no investors, I think, are tapped out on the whole MMA market.
It's because for the most part, it hasn't worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's worked for one.
Yeah.
Everyone else is deep in debt.
Yeah. No, I get it. So what I'm saying is, like, when these fights, and I said this on Tuesday, or sorry, when I said it the other day on Saturday, is that the UFC will start being like, oh, you don't want to fight? Cool. Screw you.
Yeah, but like, and I was the first one to say, Sarukian not taking the fight. Sarukian is a wrestler. Sarukian is always, he just had a grappling competition.
Yeah.
And so I look and I go, you should have taken that fight. Saint Denis, in this situation, I'm going to go with him and say, I think he did the right thing. Bad opponent for you to take on short notice.
All right. I guess I can kind of see what you're going with it. I can see where you're going with it. But I guess my next question is, do you put the next fight is Charles Radke versus Mike Malott? Do you bump that up to the main card now and then put Saint Denis as the main event on the prelims?
No. I understand why you're saying it.
Okay.
But I've got a guy in Mike Malott or Charles Radke. Are they of the same standing as Saint Denis? No, they're not. So with the switch of opponents, I understand why you're saying it, but I'm not going to switch it. If I'm the UFC, I like having Mike Malott as my main event for my prelims.
Well, I guess Canada.
Yep.
Okay. How do you see that fight going, Radke and Mike Malott?
That's actually a really good matchup. Mike Malott is strong fighters, everything, but Radke's been coming on.
Mm-hmm.
Radke has really turned the corner in that he's a good fighter. He's a tough fighter. I love his nickname. What, Chuck Buffalo? I hate Chuck Buffalo. It's a good one, but he's really coming on as far as he had the loss to Carlos Prates. He got hit with a freaking devastating knee to the body, and again, if you've ever had that happen, you'll understand why you can't stand up. But other than that, he's looked great. He had a great fight against a guy that I think is a very tough fighter in Semmelsberger, and he got Semmelsberger out of there fast. And I just look at him at this point, he's getting better, and he's maturing, and he's got a lot more confidence. So I think this is a really tight fight. I think either guy could win it.
Yeah, I want to know if Mike Malott's able to kind of cure that issue he had where the conditioning. Raki's going to be putting the pressure. He's going to be trying to take the fight pretty much everywhere. He's going to keep it on the feet, damage. He's going to do everything.
Yeah.
Can he handle the pressure of fighting in Canada in front of all your own countrymen? And how will that adrenaline be? It's sometimes people never get over it. Sure, you've had great success in the smaller shows when you were dominating people that were nowhere near your athleticism and your talent, your ability. Can you do it now in the big show in front of everybody in your own country? Like, it's a big deal.
Well, you're right. Well, you got to figure his only loss in the UFC happened where? In Toronto.
Yeah, in Toronto.
Okay.
I didn't know. I can't remember. Couldn't remember it was in Toronto. I just knew it was in Canada.
That was in the Strickland versus Duplessis, and I want to say it was in January. But yeah, I mean, look, this is that fight against Neil Magny proved a lot. It showed a lot, and it showed, hey, yeah, you're great when you're the hammer and you're going after people, and then as you got tired and you started being the nail, we saw it start to fall apart, and that's part of fighting, and it's you have to figure out ways to get through there. But that was a stoppage right near the end of the fight. It was in the third round. I don't remember the time, but I know that it was close. And it was because,
4:45.
Okay, 4:40, 15 seconds left in the fight. And he had won the first two rounds. But, this is what happens in fighting, and you've got to, be able to hang in there. And when someone's putting the pressure on you, you got to figure out ways to slow that fight down so you can maintain, and get yourself back to being the guy who is in control of the fight. Hopefully he learned. He had a nice fight against Trevin Giles after that. So, hey, part of fighting is when you lose, you learn from it. And I think he's learned, but we're going to see this fight is one that I think Charles Radke matches up really well with him. They'll push each other. Who's going to be the smarter fighter in it?
Reminiscent of Roy McDonald and Carlos Condit that lost like only a couple seconds left in the fight.
Exactly.
Oh, happened to twice to Canadians.
Yeah. But I want to say that Roy was 19 when that
Yeah,
happened?
he was 19 years old, I
Yeah.
believe, and there was only like less than 10 seconds left, I think, on the clock.
11 seconds.
Jeez.
I'll say it was 11.
And he won the first 2 rounds.
Yes, he had.
Yeah.
But he was getting worked in that third round, but he was getting worked by a really good fighter.
Yeah, it wasn't some. Yeah. All right, you got Jessica Andrade and Jasmine Jasdavicius.
I'll tell you what, I really like Jasmine Jasdavicius. I think she's a dynamite fighter. She's going to go out there. Her whole game is going to be to take Jessica Andrade off of her feet, take her out, where she's strong, keep her out of that position, be on top of her, and use ground and pound. And she's good with it. And this is a good stylistic fight for her. This is going to say a lot about where she's at.
I would agree. This is a very tough fight for her, having to deal with the former champion, someone who's got power in her hands, decent takedown defense, not too savvy in the submission defense, but takedown defense is good. Physically strong.
Yeah.
And so
physically very strong.
Very strong. So Jasmine Jasdavicius is going to have to come up with some unique ways to get this fight to the ground to try and control the fight, because she cannot be on the field with her.
Yeah,
she cannot. John, any other fights on this card you want to talk about?
No, we're good right now. Let's go.
All right. That'll wrap us on the UFC 315 talk. Before we move on, though, make sure you guys subscribe to us over on OnlyFans. And those of you guys watching us right now on OnlyFans, I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. We are live right now on OnlyFans, on Instagram, on X, on Kick, on Twitter, on TikTok. We're everywhere. So we want to make sure all of you guys know. Follow us, subscribe to us on all the other platforms. Also, join our memberships here on the YouTube channel at $4.99. I've just sent off some packages today, so they should be getting some new boxes of Element. Hopefully, you guys are excited about receiving those. You guys know who you are, and I know I was supposed to send them 2 weeks ago, but I didn't do it. So I want to thank you guys so much for continuing to be members on our platform. We also offer a $4.99 and a $1.99 membership. We do our live chat. We're going to do some live chats here a little bit later tonight after we wrap up on this card. So join us now. Also, drink Element. Use the link down below in our descriptions. When you guys use that link down below, it is a bonus package they send you every single time you make a purchase from that link. They will send you a bonus package of free product. So it could be their new lemonade flavor, which to me is awesome. My daughter loves it. She's walking around like as if it's hers now. It's not mine. She took my Yeti that they sent me too, so it's hers. But yeah, she loves it. So look, kids are doing it, man. Kids are loving it, and my kids, he's playing lacrosse and soccer this weekend. It's supposed to be kind of hot here in the 90s, so I want to make sure my kids stay hydrated for their games this weekend.
Hey, I gotta say, on our Instagram, I just saw that Ray Corona, Popeye Ray, just said hello to me and stuff, and I want to say to him, congratulations, Ray. Ray was just licensed as a boxing referee in the state of Nevada after doing great work in California for a long time. He's a great referee in boxing, and congratulations on getting licensed in the state of Nevada. He's going to be doing some fights there in Vegas, which will be great.
Hey, Ray, you didn't say hi to me. What the hell, man? Jeez. Feeling a little disrespected right now.
Just a little bit.
Put a little respect on my name, Ray. Dave, you got anything for us, buddy?
Yeah, do you guys want to talk about the PFL in Saudi this weekend, or do you want to jump over that?
I don't want to talk about Nima or
Mina.
No. Yeah, it's basically like their version of the Saudi Arabia African League.
It's kind of like Strike Force Challengers, or
it's not even that level.
Dana White Contenders.
It's about the Dana White Contender, but just not as much recognition.
Yeah.
So they're it's. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. What else you got for us?
Okay, so then let's hit some of these super chats while they're here. Starting from the very beginning, in the Granite, who's a member. When you guys coming on my podcast?
Oh, I didn't know you had one.
I didn't know you had one in the Granite. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He has mentioned it on the show, on the chat before.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
Yeah. If you drop Josh a DM, Josh is pretty good at reading the comments. So
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Follow me over on
better than
Instagram.
me.
Follow me over on Instagram and hit me up in the DMs, and I will take a look at your podcast. And like I've said before in the past, like we like to do fans podcasts and try to support other people's podcasts and try to help them grow. So whatever we can do. What else you got?
In the Granite asked a question with a super chat. Good evening, Big John, Josh, podcast Dave. chat. Oh, there's no question. There's just a good evening.
Just the chat.
Well, good evening to you too.
Wardo, who's a member now for 2 months. Big fan. Thanks for the entertainment. Big John and Josh. Alejandro's super chat asks, when do you think Dana will retire and who will rise?
You got a long ways, man. Dana's made it very vocal. He's like, look, he is going to probably step away, but he'll still be involved, just not as much as he is now. But he's going to do this shit till he dies. Guys like him, they don't step away until like literally like, hey, I have like 24 hours to live to spend time with my family, so then I'll step away. Like that's going to be him. And so, and look, if someone loves it that much, keep doing what you're doing, man. He's just in it too deep, John.
Yeah, no, you got to look and say, everybody's different, but he does, no matter what he says to anybody, he loves the fight game and he loves what he's doing and he's making good money doing it. So why I do believe he will. I think in our year-end thing, I said Dana White is going to, kind of step away from the UFC to try to build the TKO boxing thing that they're doing. And I think that will occur, but I think he'll always have his finger on the pulse of what's happening with UFC. He'll always be there for them. But when Dana steps away, everyone talks about, oh, who will it be? Will it be Dan Cormier? No, you don't put someone like Dan Cormier as that person. They've already got the guy. It's Hunter Campbell. I'm just being honest. And this is I'm not taking any kind of shot or throwing shade at Dan. That's not it. It's they've already got the person that's going to be taking Dana's spot, and he runs the company now, in a way that Dana doesn't have to do as much work and stuff, and so that's all set. And Hunter Campbell's a great person to be that next guy. So,
John, when you say that, when you say like Hunter Campbell, are you suggesting that he's the one that's going to sit in front of the press and kind of answer questions and things like that? Or are you meaning in a different capacity?
No, he'll be the one that'll start handling those media scrums and things like that because he's smart. Like he's a very intelligent person. He knows what to talk about. He just he takes the back seat to Dana, which he should, because Dana's been the president, but Dana's good at what he does. You don't put somebody, the only time you put somebody else out there is when Dana can't be there, because Dana's great at manipulating and making his point come across and getting people to look in the direction he wants them to look. He controls those media scrums and he does a fantastic job. Those are not easy to do. Scott Coker used to be really good at, someone will ask him a question and he'll answer just a little bit of that question and then go on to something else. Dana does that all the time. And that just comes with experience, and he's so good at it. Why would you ever want someone else to be talking? But as soon as Dana's gone, that would be Hunter.
So what do you think as far then is Hunter just not carrying the same, like he doesn't have the same charisma, he doesn't have the same energy, he's quite kind of matter of fact, like monotone like me. I just think that when Dana White has character about him, that like when he's sitting in front of the media, certain questions get him like riled up. So he kind of has a laugh sometimes. Here's
what I'm gonna say. You had when Zuffa came to be, that was when Lorenzo Fertitta and Frank Fertitta bought the UFC. Well, that was really, if you're going to be honest about it, that was Lorenzo. Frank owned 45%. I can tell you, I remember seeing the contract that they had. Lorenzo had 45%. Frank had 45%. They gave Dana 10%. And then if the decision making was, if they didn't agree on something, they Lorenzo and Frank would have to have a jiu-jitsu match, and who won the match got their way. But it was really, Frank was not that, he was into it, but not into it like Lorenzo. And Lorenzo was the guy that was making all the decisions, and Lorenzo was so good at using Dana and telling Dana, I want you to go do this. And Dana would go and do it. And again, I'm not throwing shade at Dana. Dana was fantastic at following the path that Lorenzo was sending him on and doing the things that Lorenzo wanted to be done. Lorenzo didn't want his face. He wanted Dana's face out there. He wanted Dana doing these things and everyone talking about Dana. He didn't want anyone thinking Lorenzo was doing anything. Well, if you look now, it used to be that Lorenzo would be the guy who was traveling to do contracts with fighters when there was problems. And you'd see Lorenzo, in Brazil or wherever that fighter was at, and all of a sudden that fighter was signed. Well, you're seeing the same thing. I just saw Hunter Campbell in, I can't say, the proper name of it, but where Habib and Islam live in Dagestan. And what's he doing there? He's signing him to a different contract, and he's taking care of other things with other people there. That's what he does. He's the guy that gets things done. And that's, he's fantastic at it. You got to give him credit.
Yeah, it's what people need to remember is that it's not an easy job. Sure, people just think that Dana flies around and just it makes all this money and does all these things. Yeah, he does all those things because there was a relationship that he built with a lot of the top fighters at the time, whether it was Chuck, Tito, and so forth. And
some of them hated him. Tito.
Some of them did. But he still was able to make a relationship work to where the company was able to make money.
Yep.
Once Forrest and Stefan did what they did, the rest is history. But then the legwork still had to be done. It didn't just stop the money just poured in. No. They still had to still do all the legwork out there. Flying out to do deals. Let me give you an example is the John Fitch situation when John wouldn't sign over his rights to all, to his name rights and all this other shit.
Yeah.
They literally flew John in to Vegas, had a sit down talk with him, with Lorenzo and Dana, and just said, hey, what can we do to make this thing work? Because there was talk they were going to cut all the AK fighters and all this other bullshit. And it was like, wait, we can't do that. We can't do that. We got Cain Velasquez, we got Fitch, we got Kosh, we got Swick, we got Bobby, they had
a load back then.
Yeah, we had a pretty good load of fighters that were there at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? You can't do that. And so in that situation, I think that Lorenzo was able to sit people down and have that conversation. Hunter Campbell was that guy.
Yep.
And I know Dana's had that relationship with several fighters. I think Dana's probably going to be a little bit more difficult to deal with than Hunter and Lorenzo ever were. So it's not as easy of a job as people think it is. But so when you have someone like a Hunter Campbell that can get things done, and still keep the peace amongst the fighters, keep the talent happy.
Sure.
Shit, you got to keep them, man. I got to be honest, man.
Guy's gold.
Who was we had two guys at Bellator, two guys at Strikeforce that were able to do that. That's why a lot of the relationships came when Scott took over Bellator. It was a lot of the relationships he had at Strikeforce. They came over because they understood the relationship they had with Coker. They understood the relationship they had with Rich Chow, and Mike Hogan. So all those three guys, the relationship that was there, they needed those guys. So I know that Coker gets a lot of the credit for, hey, you had a great roster, you did this, you did that. But man, a lot of it was Rich Chow, a lot of it was Mike Hogan. Those two guys did so much legwork, like Hunter Campbell and Mick Maynard and Sean Shelby and Joe Silva. They did a lot of the legwork to get it done. But that's the job, though. The job is to try and make the promoter and the boss look good. And they did a great job at it.
That's right.
In the Granite replies to you guys, he did try to DM Big John, but he'll try Josh now.
Yeah, try me, Big John.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm bad
I
at
don't
it.
know how to read either. So
Alejandro Gutierrez says, and I got to come on camera for this one. The difference between Hunter and Dave is the need for subtitles.
Get him, buddy. I love that you're giving him a hard time. I stopped giving him a hard time because he doesn't fight fair, man. He sends me that GIF every single time.
J Flo asks, why is no one talking about if Belal loses and Islam wins the belt? What then happens with Belal? Everyone is acting like he's not going to want his belt back.
He's going to go to 185. He's talked about going to 185. He's like, if Islam does come up and he fights and he wins the title, he's like, I'll just go to 185. I don't think that they're going to show him the same respect that they did, like Islam getting an automatic title shot. They're going to push him up there. He'll end up fighting some tough ass fights at 185. I mean, but I know he hates Sean Strickland. I'd love to see that fight. I know he doesn't like Sean Strickland, so sign me up for that fight.
Yep.
I mean, John, what other fights would you think? What other fights would you like to see him in? Belal.
Man, I'll tell you what. I know this is a weird one to say, but I would love to see Khamzat and Belal. I'm not sure that would ever happen, but
Interesting.
I think that would be a great fight.
I could see that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And let's be honest, the condition if Belal.
Well, that's the whole point.
First round and a half.
Belal's got to get through the first round. Okay, now let's go. Because Belal's got if there's anything that some bitch has, it's a set of lungs.
John, you might be onto something, man.
Thank you very much.
I hope they do fight. I'd love to see that fight.
What
else you got for us, Dave?
Alejandro Gutierrez, is Manon versus Valentina a mismatch? Do they wrestle in France? LOL. I can say that because I'm from Spain. Maybe the winner versus winner of Juliana versus Kayla.
No. You do not want Manon or Valentina going up against who's going to be the winner of the Kayla Juliana. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to predict.
But if it was, let's say Amanda Nunes comes in and beats Juliana or Kayla, you have Amanda Nunes there again. Does she fight? And Manon gets a win or two in that process? They're both stand-up fighters.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that.
Hold it. Amanda's been a stand-up fighter, except for fights that are going to give her problems, like Jermaine
with their stand-up fighters.
Hello, and so she becomes she uses that skill set. So, what made Amanda good is Amanda's smart. She took care of the problems that she had with cardio at a certain point where she would burn out, and she fixed that and just became just an awesome fucking fighter.
Agree. What else, Dave?
Alejandro also asked, Josh, did Manon train at AKA? I bet $20 on Bullet.
I don't recall her being there. Is there something that says that she trained there before? Because I don't recall her ever being there. We had Jermaine Durandamy that was there. We had what was her name? She fought in Bellator. Oh man, I forgot. Hispanic girl, really good kickboxer. God,
was she married to George Gurgel? Frosto?
I think she was. Yes.
Zola Frosto.
Zola Frosto. Yeah, she was good. Her sister fought too, I believe.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Stephanie Frosto.
Yeah. So, but yeah, she was there for a bit too. We had some other female kickboxers that were there also. But no, I don't think she was ever there. I don't ever recall seeing her there.
He said no, it's because you support her so much. That's why he's asking.
He's saying your bias is coming.
I'm biased. Let's talk about these matchups here. Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia.
Dude,
can we just do the last one real quick?
I'm sorry.
Cody White asks, John, what do you think of Mark Smith's stop? And that's in quotes.
Stop. I mean, when he says stop. Is that what he's talking about?
That's a question. John, what do you think of Mark Smith's stop?
Well, I don't know what I'm going to tell you this. Mark Smith came into MMA. Mark was a F-16 fighter pilot. He was part of the Thunderbirds. If you look at the you got the Navy's got the Blue Angels and the Air Force has the Thunderbirds. He was actually part of that group for a while, doing the formation flying for shows and stuff like that. The guy's a very intelligent man. He flies now for Southwest. I helped Mark through parts of his career and getting him to where he is kind of now and stuff. And I will tell you this. Has Mark made some mistakes? Yeah, we all do. But overall, I'm going to be honest, he makes very good decisions on when to stop a fight now. Very rarely. And again, anyone can sit there and nitpick someone as far as the timing and when they do stuff. But overall, Mark Smith does a really good job of the timing of when he stops fights. Oh, that's his stop.
Stop. I mean, you could just jump in. Let's talk about Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia.
I think it's a great fight. I never even thought of putting those two together, but that is Steve Garcia is a handful. That dude is a freaking maniac. Calvin Kattar is obviously a technician in the stand-up, but he's getting a little bit older. He's having more problems. And a guy like Steve Garcia, that's a great fight for him to try to get a nice name on his side of the ledger. That's going to be in Nashville in July. That might be one I have to go to.
Hey, Dan Hughes, go ahead and repost your comment down there so then Dave can check and look at it, and we'll go ahead and answer it for you. Stop being a whiny bitch. Okay.
Wow.
I'll see you in the comments.
Wow.
I'll see you in the comments. We'll get you, my man. We'll get you. Dan Hughes, we appreciate you being a member. Thank you so much. We'll get to you, buddy. I think it's a great fight. Is this supposed to be the main event?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't say main event, so.
No, it doesn't.
But I think it's just a matchup, and that's a great fight.
Yes, let's see. I think it's gonna be a fantastic fight. It's gonna be a fan favorite. We're gonna be able to sit there and be like in awe of how they're just gonna beat the shit out of each other. I mean, like, I'm looking forward to seeing more fights like that. That's why I was so excited about the Jeremy Stevens fight, against Mason Jones. It was a great fight. We've lost that along the way. Dan, I know you love me, buddy, but I had to roast you, bud. I had to roast you. I saw you giving Dave some shit in the comments. Don't think I don't pay attention. I'm watching you. Okay, you can't be messing with my boy like that. I can do that. All right, because I want to get the gif of me getting knocked out by Eves all day. All right, anyways. bottom line. Great fight, great fan fight. I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. That fight is on July 12th, UFC Fight Night. Where does it say it's going to be at? It says NA.
That's in Nashville.
Oh, in Nashville. Sorry, I couldn't see it because it's blocking my little thing down below is blocking the rest of it. Oh, it's in Nashville. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Derek Lewis, I believe, in Spivak. I think is the main event. It's a heavyweight fight. I think is the main event.
Really?
I think so.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Calvin Kattar and Steve Garcia go the 5 rounds.
I think
at least they could make the 5 rounds.
Yeah. I think it's the heavyweight matchup.
Okay.
I think so.
So much for me going.
July 12th is
unless it was last year's Derek Lewis and Spivak.
no, it's Derek Lewis and Teixeira.
There you go, Derek Lewis.
Against Teixeira.
Yeah,
tall man Teixeira. Okay.
Yeah. Who else on that card?
Lauren Murphy and Eduardo Mura,
Uh-huh.
Vitor Petrino and Austin Lane, and then Fatima Klein and Melissa Martinez.
That's all they have listed right now.
That's all right now.
And now this fight, Calvin Kattar. This will probably be the co-main event, or somewhere in that top main card. That Calvin Kattar fight, and it's got to be. It's gonna be such a great fight. What other action you got for us there, Dave?
All right, we can wrap up on this one. This is a light-hearted one. Not Dan Hooker posts this video of his cut hand from the surgery.
Looking good.
And I just had to put a side by side.
I remember that one.
You son of a gun.
That's all right. Yeah. I remember seeing that floppy thumb.
Oh. I mean, he's got more of a boxer break. Mine was all in the thumb and the wrist and stuff, but this is nasty. Someone was telling me he may not be able to fight again.
It's weird because it just depends. The problem you always have when you're having surgery on your hands, I mean, my hands don't fucking work now. My finger locks and stuff all the time. You've had nothing but hand injuries. But when you have that kind of surgery, the only way for them to put it together is the plates and the screws and stuff. And sometimes everything works out great. And sometimes, man, it hurts so bad to hit something with that and it never goes away.
Yeah.
And so you're always at a deficit with, punching with that hand because it's like it's gonna hurt like a son of a bitch when you do it.
Yeah, you can have the plate taken out when it eventually heals and the screws taken out and all that, but then
That's
you got
just another surgery.
It's just another surgery, and it takes another 6 months to get your fitness and cardio back up and all. It's a big long process. I mean, you can be out for a year just for something like that.
Yep.
You try to fight with it in, it's over your hand. So when you do get kicked in the glove, it doesn't hurt as much. But still, when you're making impact, it really depends on how
Again,
the plate was set in, how many screws are in it, everything.
that's it.
I've got a plate in my ankle, and I can't. You touch any type of ankle lock on me, man, I start freaking out because like there's no flex in my foot. Like I stopped kicking at the body because if I caught you with my toes, it would hurt all the way up into my calf. It felt like my bone was going to break again.
Yeah, because
So-
it is. It's where that plate is sitting on the bone. It's like a fulcrum, and this is what people don't realize. Everything has its pros and its cons. And sometimes the cons far outweigh the pros of what has happened by having that plate put in there.
All right. Do we get his question there, Dave?
Yep. Dan's question is, it was an Islam question. How can he be a pound for pound great when almost half his UFC wins are against former 45 fighters and his first 12 wins were against people who don't have a wiki page?
A wiki page.
Wiki page.
I'm glad we're basing it off of wiki pages these days.
That's it.
Look, it's no different than like with Habib, no different than with Islam and Umar. A lot of these guys don't want to fight him. So what do they have to do? Like, I didn't think Umar was quite ready for the Corey Sandhagen fight. He proved me wrong. I thought maybe one more fight before he got to Corey Sandhagen. But like I said, he proved me wrong. When guys won't fight him, and you've got to fight up 4 or 5 spots in the rankings to prove that you belong there, that's also not fair. But luckily for them, they've been successful in those areas. Islam deserves to be where he's at. Bottom line.
I love the fact because someone came. Josh, answer me this: name the best weight classes there are right now.
35 and 55.
35, 45, 55. Those
45 is kind of right now.
No, well, a lot of them are leaving.
Yeah, that's
and where are they going?
55.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sit there and you go, look at 45 has had some absolute killers in it. And now, and I'm being honest, the UFC's 45 is just getting better if you're asking me, because they're losing some, but they're replacing them with some people that are going to be freaking phenomenal. So yeah, I just look and say, when they weighed in, they didn't weigh in at 45. Those guys weighed in at 55 and then weighed more than 55 the night of the fight. So they were lightweights. Okay. Yeah, they fought a lot of their careers at featherweight, but I guess when Connor won the lightweight, he was not very good because he was a featherweight. It's just the stupidest thing ever. When the person is fighting in that weight class, that's what weight class they are. Islam is a phenomenal fighter who has fought the very best people the UFC could find to put against him. Every time he's fighting someone, that's the best one that the UFC can find. So be it 45, they came from it, or 55, or someone coming down from 70, it's the best person they can find. So he's a phenomenal fighter. And
let's clarify. Everybody. Let's clarify this too. He doesn't want to fight Ilia Topuria. No, he's trying to get out of it right now. He's like, look, I'd rather fight Justin Gaethje, who's a 45 or 55 pounder. I'd rather fight Charles Oliveira again, who's a 55 pounder, who's been a champion in my weight class. He'd rather fight someone new in terms of Justin Gaethje. I'll fight you, sure, Ilya. Let me see what happens with Belal. He's trying to avoid the 45 conversation altogether. And so it's not really his fault. It's just that the fighters at the top have really kind of they continue to just beat each other and they stay lingering there. So he's going to have to keep going through them. Why do you think he wants to see what happens with this Belal and JDM fight? He wants to go up in weight class. He's probably also tired of cutting weight. Yeah. And so he's ready to just go ahead and make that challenge and take that step up to 170. And, I want Belal to win, but if he doesn't, I'm looking forward to Islam having the opportunity to shine at 170 and capture a second belt. And then however the dust settles at 155 is how the dust settles. There's a lot of good talent that's coming up. You got, I think, Brian Ortega's coming up. You got Max coming up. I mean, like, you got Ilya there. And you've got that now you're adding 3 new guys to an already really good division. Who that top 5, top 7, they just like to stand and trade and bang. So I'm looking forward to that group of fighters. Yeah. Saruki and being in there. So Dan Hughes, hopefully that satisfied you. I'm glad we got to that conversation. Is there anything else there, Dave?
Alejandro Gutierrez asks, aren't we glad they didn't make Khamzat versus Bo?
Yeah, we say Bo's life. I mean, I saw that Bo was on Ariel Hawani, and you know, and what I liked about Bo when his conversation, he didn't have any excuses. He just legit said like it just wasn't, you know, I just wasn't at the level yet, and I can appreciate that, respectfully. My only concern with him is did you learn from it? Are you willing to fly down to American Top Team in Florida and train instead of training at the American Top Team at wherever you're at, the one they built
College
out for
Station.
you? Yeah, like you should probably be where all the other fighters are.
Yeah.
Be active, be present. You've got to take this serious. Look, everyone's allowed that first fuck up. You know, like I think everyone's allowed that moment where you know what? I was riding on that I'm the national champ, multiple time national champ. I'm this good. You know, I've got the swagger about me, all of that. Like I'm down to ride with that. Like what you were saying on before. Sure, we were all willing to ride or die with you on that. But then now that it didn't work, okay, now what are we going to do? Make the adjustments. Let's see how you come out on top. How do you come out of this? Do you make those changes, or did you just cash out and be like, okay, look, I'm good now. I'm going to move on to going to wrestle. I'm going to go on to be a wrestling coach at Penn State or at Oklahoma State, or take over my own program somewhere.
Which is fine.
Which is also fine. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, some guys have been asked, like, do you want to be a fighter? You know, like, fuck no, I don't want to be a fighter. I don't want to get hit in the face. There's just no, there's absolutely
it's not for everyone.
No, I mean, like the guy that just won, the guy that just beat Pujanowski said, "Do you want to fight Francis Ngannou next?" He
Oh
goes,
my
no,
God, I love that.
I'd rather be fucked in the ass by the devil than fucking fight Francis Ngannou.
Eddie Hall came up with the greatest line ever, man. You can't ask for more honesty, because that was the promoter is sitting there trying to get Francis. He says, I'd like to get Francis Ngannou against Eddie Hall, and he goes, "Yeah, that was not going to happen. I'd rather get fucked in the ass."
That's
By
great.
the devil than fight Francis Ngannou. And I'm like,
that's great.
That's pretty straight out there.
Straight out honesty.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Hey guys, I want to thank you guys so much for aren't we glad they didn't make Hamza? Yeah, okay, we saw that. Look, overall, guys, thanks for joining us. Tuesday night lives, 9:30 Eastern time. Join us every Tuesday night. We're good across all platforms. Twitch, Kick, Rumble, TikTok, Instagram, X, OnlyFans. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. Support us over there too on OnlyFans. Subscribe to us over there. It's free. Use the link down below for Element. Every purchase you make with the Element link gets you a free bonus package because you're friends with us. That's why. Because. And also the last thing, and last but not least, go to WayneMerch.com, pick up some of our apparel. And I lied. One more thing. Join our memberships. $4.99, $1.99. Look, man, we try to get to all your guys' questions throughout here. And
did we do it?
Dan Hughes, I'm glad you're happy. We're going to sign off, and John, take us away, buddy.
For everyone out there, we're sorry if we didn't get to your question. Come on next week, and we will try, and we will see you.
Sorry, not sorry.